If you're looking for a CRM platform that's awesome at outbound dialing of your prospects, then you're going to definitely want to take a look at Close.com. Close CRM's all-in-one approach brings calling, texting, emailing, and pipeline management all together in one sleek interface. Your sales reps won't have to juggle multiple tools just to be able to manage communications. You can do this all from within Close. In this review, we're going to take a look at the core features of the Close CRM platform. We'll talk about its pricing, its pros and cons, and if it's the right platform for you. Hey, I'm Dan Lehman from SoftwareFinds.com, and on our website, we have authentic reviews of tons of different CRM platforms. We've crafted tools and charts to help make the buying process easier as you're looking for CRMs. So go ahead and check out the website, and let's dive into Close. Inside of Close, we have these different smart views, and you can see we have different options already created for us, and we can create our own. With Smart Views, you can automatically find leads that might be stale or have your daily dialing list. And from our Smart View, we have different bulk actions that we can take. So for example, I might want to send a bulk email. And here's where I can tap into existing templates that I have. There's some out of the box, or we can create our own. So let me choose one of these templates, and we can preview it. And now we can see how we have different variables, such as the prospect's first name. And we can preview this for any of our leads before we actually hit send. But when we send the email, even though it's a bulk action, each recipient's going to receive their own individual copy of that email. Likewise, this is where we can initiate our power dialer if we want to automatically call the leads that are on our list. Or we could trigger an automated workflow that happens with each of these existing leads. Let's go ahead and open up one of our leads. So here on the left-hand side, we can see details about our lead. We can see any tasks that we have. We can add new tasks easily to remind ourselves for later. We have any opportunities that we might currently have in process. And here we actually have two different opportunities for this same lead. Then we've got any contacts involved. We might have different contacts if we have a decision maker and a champion. And we can create our own custom fields. So maybe we want to have a trial start date, and that can be a custom field. What I like about this lead kind of architecture for Close is that it really ties everything all together. We've got our tasks, we have the lead information, we have our opportunities, our contacts, and again, this just happens in a unified place as opposed to have leads, and now we convert the lead and create the contact and the account and the opportunity. It's a little bit more intuitive when we're inside of Close. In the center area is where we're going to see all of our individual conversations with this lead. So if we want to add a new note, we can just simply press that button and we'll have a new note. Is this something really important or sensitive? Well, then we can just pin this to the top. And again, we can email using templates, or we can SMS using templates, or we can initiate a call. But this doesn't rely on you setting up third-party external integrations. This all happens directly within Close. And yes, you are going to have to purchase or bring a phone number, and you're going to have to pay some usage fees with it, but it's way more convenient than trying to string all these separate services together. So here we can see our SMS conversation with Oliver, and we can expand this to actually show the full threaded conversation. Likewise, when we place phone calls, we can get an AI summary of everything that was spoken, and this is transcribing this for us automatically. So we have a recording here. So you can actually read and hear the transcript as it moves along. Or maybe we want to click on a specific section, and it's going to take us right to that point in the call. So from a sales management standpoint, this is incredibly useful as you're doing your deal reviews. Up at the top here, we also have an AI summary. Now, I'll be honest, I've reviewed a ton of AI tools. And in many cases, the AI isn't always that useful. For example, when I was reviewing Zoho's Zia functionality, it gave me an AI summary of the lead record itself, but I couldn't have it pull in any contextual information around the lead. Here, the AI summary that I have is actually looking at the notes and the other information around this record to provide this summary to me. And so even though it feels like a very simple feature, this is incredibly useful. Now, when it comes to activities, inside of Close, we have the ability to log our own custom activities. The reason this is important is because in many other CRM systems, you're limited to just a task or a call note. Here with custom activities, this means you could always log when a demo actually occurred, so that that demo is inserted into this overall flow of our activities. And if you want to be able to view your communications in a unified inbox, you can do that as well within Close. So here I've got my emails, calls, messages, and tasks. not just at the contact or lead layer, but here I can see them all in one place. And because my email is integrated with Close, that means it's going to identify new leads that we should add from my email and actually add them into the CRM. Reporting and analytics in Close aren't super sophisticated. You can't really create your own custom reports. But the reports that we do have out of the box work pretty well. So for example, there's a really nice opportunity funnel where we can see all of our deals across our pipeline in terms of the different stages and how those deals are moving through the pipeline. And the pipelines themselves are nice and pretty easy to use. We've got our own visual pipeline, or a Kanban board as we would call it, where we can drag and drop our deals in between their stages. We've got some options on how we want this to actually display, and we can track multiple different pipelines. So maybe you have one for your small outbound sales team, and you have another one for your inbound sales team. You can manage your pipelines to be able to track the different statuses, both for your leads as well as your opportunity pipelines. You'll be able to download the Close mobile application. At least in the Play Store, it does not have great reviews. In my time using it, I thought the user experience was pretty nice, but it had some bugs where suddenly the screen stopped displaying. Here I've got my inbox and I can see all of my different activity types. I've got my leads and my contacts. I like that for my opportunities, I can still view this as a visual pipeline, just the same as if we were on the web. And if I were to interact with one of my leads or contacts, I could initiate emails directly from my phone or calls as well. And that's going to give me the option to use either the phone number that we have purchased through Close, or I could call directly from my cell. Of course, if we want the best tracking for the phone calls, we'd want to use the actual Close phone numbers. Next, let's talk about how we can automate and extend the Close CRM platform. First up, we have workflows. I can create a new workflow. And interestingly enough, we have these templates, which are not so much templates as they are AI prompts. So let's try this one for lead nurturing. And this puts in a prompt for us. Let's kick this off. We can see it analyzing our requirements in the background. It's taking into consideration our past contact points. And now it's creating different touch points based on both email and SMS. Let's go ahead and check out our workflow. So here we can see that this is triggered manually on our contacts. And then from here, we send out an email, and it's actually defined the copy for us. We've got a second email, and this gives some industry insights. Then we have a text message. We've got another email. We've got wait times in between each of these. So this is pretty cool that it's constructing both the different steps within our automation sequence as well as the copy itself. And within this, we can identify our workflow goals to know when this has actually been successful and when it should stop. Now we can, of course, create our own workflows by starting from scratch. And you can see here are our different triggers. We don't always have to do this manually by adding them. We could have a certain event for that lead or opportunity, something that happens like maybe the status is set to a certain one. We say it's a qualified lead. Well, then that's going to kick this off. Then we can add a step. And here for our step, you can see we've got options of email, call, SMS, assigning users, tasks, opportunities, and leads. I don't think this is quite as powerful with some of the conditional and branching logic of other CRMs that are out there. However, what this can do that many other CRMs cannot is that it can actually send those emails, actually send, especially that SMS is going to be the big unique one. Now, when it comes to the calls, this is more going to be a step to say, hey, buddy, you need to actually call the client that way. But the fact that we can do these actions automatically is pretty powerful. Now, in addition to automation, there are also out-of-the-box integrations that you can activate within the Close platform. You can see that there's quite a few that we can choose from, but the library isn't going to be quite as large as some of the other CRM platforms out there. If you need to get more custom, they have a pretty robust API that you can use for all these different activity types, meeting searches. So really, if you need to create your own integration, that's going to be a great option, as well as they have a pretty powerful Zapier connector. We can see all of the different triggers that we have within Zapier and actions that we have within Zapier as well. Now, other ways that we can extend the platform. Remember earlier we talked about our custom activity types. So here you can see, here's some examples like an account review. Let's actually click into this And notice that it really functions as its own form. So this is going to prompt your sales rep to enter in this information about the type of call, the point of contact, any notes that we had, so that we can capture the information in the format that works best for us. So that means if you adopt a certain sales methodology like MEDDIC and you want to collect all the key information along the way, you're essentially forcing the rep to be able to enter that information to log that custom activity. We can also add our own custom fields to our leads, contacts, or opportunities. We can press this button to add the custom field, and you can see we have a number of different types to be able to choose from, such as multi and single select or drop downs, dates and times, numbers, text, connecting it to different contacts or users. And then we're also able to create custom objects. So I wanted to have one for a SaaS company called subscriptions. And so we can reference those subscriptions as well. One thing that's kind of cool is there's basically a library of fields you can tap into. So for example, I could click on business model, and here I've got different choices already predetermined for us. Next, let's talk about pricing. So as you'd expect here, we have a discount if we're doing our annual pricing. We have a monthly option as well. There is no free plan with Close, but you do have access to a free trial. Even though it displays these 3 core plans of Essentials, Growth, and Scale, if you scroll down, you're going to find information about their $9 solo plan as well. As we dive a little bit deeper into the core plan features, we're going to take a look at the pricing. You can see that these custom objects, that's going to push you up to the most expensive plan. So that's something to think about if you have your own unique data model. If you are heavily into emailing, like you're going to use the bulk email feature, that's going to typically push you into growth. I think it's pretty cool that you get SMS features directly within the solo plan, the cheapest plan. Now, bearing in mind that phone numbers, as well as the call assistant, which is going to handle that transcription that we talked about before, that's going to have its own usage fees and additional fees there as well. I think the main reason that you'd be pushed into the most expensive scale plan is if you need some of those really enhanced phone features. So for example, if you want the predictive dialer, so we talked about the power dialer, which is just, hey, you're going straight down the list. But a predictive dialer is going to really optimize for your team. That means it knows how many reps are going to take calls, how often do you end up dialing before someone actually picks up, what's the ratio of answered calls and call abandonment, and what's the length of the conversation. So if your team is all about performance, high velocity, outbound dialing, then getting this all packaged up within Close is going to be a great value add for your team. Additional features around the calls are going to be that you can have your sales manager actually listen in with the sales rep who's on the phone. You've got whisper call coaching, which means that the rep can be talking and they can be getting feedback in their ear from the sales manager without the prospect actually hearing that. And then there's also barge calls. So that means, hey, if management wants to take over, they can hop into the existing call. Workflow automation is going to be one of the key things that pushes you into the growth plan. So overall, if you're doing kind of light emailing, calling, and SMS, you'll be fine with Essentials. I really think most businesses are going to be successful on the growth plan. That's where you get the workflows. That's where you get the power dialer. Now, reminder, that is not the predictive dialer on the highest plan, but that's going to work for a lot of teams. And then ultimately, if you need that high velocity calling, then you're going to be looking at the scale plan. Now, we mentioned the SoftwareFinds.com website. If you want to check it out currently, and this is always bound to change because we're doing new reviews all the time, but right now, Close is ranked really high out of the platforms we have reviewed. You can see a number of them that we have on here. And Close, the reason why it stands out so much in my mind is really around its ease of use. I think they rank higher than just about almost any platform except some of the really light platforms on ease of use because it's very accessible. It does exactly what you think it does. Easy to manage your pipeline, easy to be able to handle your communications. Now, there is a little bit of feature gating that takes place. It's also missing some components that you'd expect out of other CRMs, like you're not going to have your proposals and contracts and invoicing. Again, that really only matters for a subset of small businesses, but in this case, their strength is really around the communication side. Another big pro of Close is going to be around its configurability. So the fact that you have those custom objects, the custom activity types, being able to access everything through API, a really good Zapier connector. This is a really good platform if you want to extend it out throughout your business. Now, like I mentioned before, we have lots of tools built in to help you actually compare these different platforms and see how they do against each other. So check this out for yourself. So at the end of the day, who is Close CRM the right platform for? I have to say right off the bat that if you're a small or medium-sized business and you're looking for a unified communications center, you can't really get a lot better than Close. Yes, there are other platforms such as High Level, but High Level has all of this communication stuff. And then they add in so much more complexity because they're always adding new features. And if you just want something that works, that's easy to use, then Close is going to be a great fit for you. Now, Close might not be the best fit for you if you're looking for an all-in-one kind of platform. So if you want it combined with marketing automation and service automation for your small business, then there are other options to choose from. Now, granted, Close is set up well to integrate with these other platforms, but if you want one platform that kind of does it all, it's not the best choice. And if you're looking for budget options, it's kind of a unique space because Close actually has one of the cheapest plans ever at $9 for that solo user, but it's going to scale up really quickly. And so if you're looking for kind of budget that scales with you, then it's going to be one of the more expensive options on the higher levels. So it's probably not the best fit for you if you're really concerned about budget. But overall, Close is really great at managing those communications with your prospects. If you have any questions or want to see our other reviews or comparisons, come on over to our website at softwarefinds.com.